Good morning all, welcome to the channel. Friday morning now. It's been a long week and a half of football. Plenty has happened, some incredible ups, drama, some downs, 3 games to cover. Obviously I've not done a video since before the Manchester United Cup tie, so let's start there. Manchester United against Newcastle United at Old Trafford. League Cup tie. The winner goes into the quarter-final draw. Obviously, we've not had a great amount of luck with cup draws so far this season. You're all aware. Obviously, Borussia Dortmund, Paris Saint-Germain, AC Milan in the Champions League. The best team in the world, Manchester City, in the first round of the cup, then away to Manchester United. A wounded Manchester United on their knees in lots of ways. Prior to this game, they'd just been demolished 3-0 at home against Manchester City. Man City cantered to that result in the end. They controlled the game. They outplayed them, outthought them, and just played with them in every sense of the word. So I was a little bit nervous prior to this game because of the injuries, because of the selection dilemma, because of I've come from a generation where Manchester United growing up were the team, the dominant force. Obviously Arsenal were with them for a long period, Chelsea were with them, but it was always Manchester United and Arsenal, Manchester United and Chelsea, Manchester United and Man City, but they've fallen off a cliff, as we know. But I still thought, there's going to be a response, much like Dortmund showed against us on Tuesday following that 4-0 demolition by Bayern Munich. I thought Manchester United were going to respond after being beaten so easily by their hometown rivals at Old Trafford in the previous game. So, starting lineup, I can't remember. I think it was Dubravka in goal. Did we have Lewis Hall left back, Tino Livramento right back? Centre halves were Dummett and Lascelles. I think Matt Targett started in midfield. We had Joelinton, Joe Willock. I'm trying to remember. Anthony Gordon, Wilson. I can't remember the starting lineup. I do apologise. But anyway, I missed the kickoff. I turned the telly on to watch it as Matt Targett was limping off the pitch. I thought, oh God, not another one. Not another one. Did Matt Ritchie start? I think Matt Ritchie started on the right wing, didn't he? And played very well. But anyway, that forced a bit of a reshuffle. So we went to Miguel Almiron came on. And then you had a midfield trio of Sean Longstaff, Joe Willock, Joelinton, Matt Ritchie, Miguel Almiron, and it must have been, Anthony Gordon started up front. I do apologise. I shouldn't leave it so long. And we played well. We scored the first goal. Miguel Almiron, I love him playing down the left wing every now and again, because he doesn't, when he comes inside, he's already on his left foot. So he's already stepping off his left foot, so he knows what he's going to do. He's more comfortable and confident. Whereas when he comes off his right foot onto his left, cutting in from the right, sometimes, not always, but sometimes he looks very ponderous. He doesn't know what to do. And often stepping off the right onto his left works a treat, because he plays that magical 1-2 with Bruno, which we saw so many times last season. And we're seeing it more and more this season now, which works more often than not. But he scored a lovely goal, was putting down the left-hand side. Beautiful goal on his left foot from the angle. Onana, should he have done better? Don't care. Good strike, good finish. The second goal came from Joe Willock's endeavour down the left-hand side, putting that ball into the box, much like, if you remember, the Goodison Park game last season, where we hammered them. Was it 4-1 in the end? Much like the cross he put in for Joelinton's header, he put in a cross off from the byline almost on his left foot. He got headed out by Harry Maguire. And Lewis Hall, what a peach of a goal. I was talking to a Man United fan on the group chat at the time watching it. He was like, oh, goalkeeper should do better there. And my first thought was, oh, perhaps he was unsighted. I've seen the goal probably about 25 times since then, and it was a beautiful finish, lovely connection, controlled, dips into the bottom corner, fantastic goal. So happy for him. Obviously, he was hooked off against City in the cup at half-time the previous round, but I thought he played really, really well against Man United. I didn't think he did too bad against Dortmund either, but we'll get to that. 2-0 at half-time, fantastic. United didn't look like creating much. Casemiro had a shot from range. Hannibal, their young, I believe he's Moroccan, forgive me if I got that wrong, their young midfield player, I thought he's extremely fortunate to stay on the pitch. He was flying in, he was moaning and berating the referee at every opportunity. Actions that would have seen him get a yellow card at St James's Park if he was playing for Newcastle against Arsenal, but again, we'll get to that. And he was extremely lucky. He was losing his head. Second half, we came out. We just controlled the game, I thought. I think Dubravka might have had one save to make. That may have been in the first half, actually. But he didn't have a lot to do. Joe Willock bursting forward. Anthony Gordon's dragging the defenders all over the place with his pace and his intelligent movement. And Joe Willock drives and drives and drives like he does so well. He carries the ball so well. He's got pace. He's got running power. He's almost like a centre in rugby union, the way he carries the ball. Joe Linton is more like a number 8, for any rugby fans watching this. A number 8, trucking the ball up, power. But Joe Willock is like that running, almost like a Brian O'Driscoll in football terms, where he just carries that ball and he glides with it. It's brilliant. And he smashes the ball in the bottom right-hand corner. Fantastic finish. 3-0. Geordie boys taking the piss. Bruno Guimaraes comes on. Callum Wilson comes on. And the question was put to Eddie Howe after the game, why did you 3-0? Why did you bring some of your big hitters on? And he said, we used it as a training session. Now, I do not think Eddie Howe was taking the piss out of Manchester United in any way by saying that. He was basically saying, we have so many games in such a tight, congested period. I think we had 3 games in 6 days. So we're not going to be able to train properly in between those games with recovery, etc. So we needed to get these players on the pitch to get some miles in the legs, if you like. That game fizzles out. On we go, Saturday, St James's Park. Wow, Arsenal, watching it on the TV, what an atmosphere, what a game. Was not a game for the purists, as people say, not a game for like unbelievable football technicality or technique, but it was a proper blood and thunder game. You could argue the teams cancelled each other out, but it wasn't one of those boring games. I remember the 2007 FA Cup final, the first cup final at the new Wembley, where it was Chelsea against Manchester United. I think Didier Drogba. Was it Didier Drogba or Frank Lampard? I think Drogba did a 1-2 with Frank Lampard and scored the winner in extra time. But that was a boring game. They cancelled each other out. It was all about shape and anticipating what the opposition is going to do. This was a proper physical game. Arsenal had the better of it in the first half, particularly the first 20-25 minutes. You know, we had more of our our proper starting 11. Bruno started, Sean Longstaff started, Joe Linton started. You had Trippier. Did Trippier start? Trippier started. I'm sure of it. Yeah, Trippier started. Jamal Lascelles, Fabian Schär, Dan Burn, Nick Pope, Callum Wilson, Miguel Almiron, and Anthony Gordon. And we Arsenal outplayed us at times. The crowd were quietening. Now the commentary kept saying, "Oh, this is what you need to do to silence the St James's Park crowd because they're so loud." They're so loud. The St James's Park faithful were not silenced at any point. However, they were quietened a bit because Arsenal were dominating the ball. I thought Declan Rice was excellent. I've, previous to his Arsenal transfer, said that Bruno Guimaraes is superior in every single facet of the game, and he wipes the floor with him 9 times out of 10. But I thought Declan Rice, it was a good battle between those two and between Declan Rice and Joe Linton as well. But I thought Rice was running the show, and he's definitely improved and stepped up since he's gone to Arsenal. The game came alive when Kai Havertz, who we have previous with, if you go back to the game at Stamford Bridge, was it last season or the season before? It's the season before, so Howe's first season. I I remember, did he foul Dan Burn or handball it in the lead up to him scoring a fantastic goal, or he should have been sent off? I think he should have been sent off, and he got away with it and then went and scored a beautiful goal, in fairness. Then if you remember the fixture, the last game before the World Cup last season at St James Park, when we beat them 1-0, beat Chelsea 1-0, that is. Joe Willock scored a fantastic winner. There was niggle then between Dan Burn and Kai Havertz again, obviously leftovers from the season previous, and then Havertz gobbing off at full time as well. There was a big thing, and nothing really to write home about, but he's got previous against us. That's what I'm trying to say. Sean Longstaff's got the ball on the byline, right by the Milburn stand, right by the technical areas of whatever, the coaches, the dugouts, and Kai Havertz comes and tries to cut him in half. Now, was it that bad on reflection? No. Sean managed to move his leg out the way, and it was Kai Havertz's trailing leg, which, can he do that much about? No. However, it was the intent, wasn't it? Maybe intent's the wrong word, but he went in recklessly, and that's what VAR said. It was reckless rather than dangerous, is what could have happened. If Sean Longstaff wasn't aware of Havertz coming flying in to try and buckle his fucking legs, that could have been a leg breaker. That could have been bad. The crowd were incensed by it. The players came running over. Interesting to see Kieran Trippier playing like the modern day sensible captain, and Jamal Lascelles getting right in Havertz's face and telling him exactly what he thought about it. I don't know why Fabian Schär got yellow carded, because it looked to me like he was pretty calm and trying to calm things down. Perhaps he just called the referee something and the referee just heard it. Anthony Gordon the same. You all, in that scenario, you would have expected the players to be booked for gobbing off would have been maybe Anthony Gordon because of his character, but Joe Linton and Bruno. But Sean Longstaff got booked for complaining. Anthony Gordon didn't look like he was doing all that bad, anything wrong really. And Fabian Schär didn't look like he did anything. So Havertz commits a pretty dangerous foul, reckless in the eyes of VAR. He gets a yellow, then 3 of our players get booked for moaning about it. Unbelievable. I thought the referee lost control a bit in that first half. But it works both ways, because Bruno Guimaraes, I love Bruno Guimaraes to bits, and I love that he plays with an edge, particularly in these games. I love that he was roughing up Jorginho. I thought he got the better of Jorginho all in all. I thought Declan Rice probably slightly got the better of him, but Rice and Joe Linton were level. But I thought he got the better of Jorginho, but he's lost his head. He flies in for a sliding tackle, misses the tackle, gets up, and straight away, as he's running back to get back into position, he comes up behind Jorginho, forearm. I don't know if it's a forearm smash. He touches the back of his head. I'm not condoning it, because let's call a spade a spade. He should have got sent off for that. And how he got away with it, I do not know. A lot of people were saying online, on commentary, on the radio, since he elbowed him in the face. Let's have it right. Unless Jorginho's face is on the back of his head, he didn't elbow him in the face. However, we can't really moan too much about Kai Havertz, because we got away massively with that one. So we're getting into half-time, and I'm thinking, I would not be surprised if Eddie takes Bruno off here, because we know what he's like. He's always fucking at it. Him and Joe Linton are always got something to say. They're always in the faces of the opposition, trying to tell them what they think of them. Things calmed down. Bruno came out. The second half looked a lot calmer. He then got booked or yellow carded in the second half for something which I didn't think was all that bad. He's received the ball, and on the turn he's gone to fend, which I know you don't really do in football. It's more of a rugby term. But he's gone to push his arm out, and he just happens to catch. I think it may have been Jorginho again. I don't know. It may have been one of the other players. Catch him sort of here. But it wasn't a punch. It wasn't a smash. It was just away from me sort of thing, and they go down like a sack of potatoes, and Bruno gets yellow for that. Again, not a yellow card in my opinion, but he got away with the red in the first, so you can't really say much about it. We were more in the game the second half, particularly the early parts of the second half. Callum Wilson comes off. He's just not getting a lot of joy at all. Anthony Gordon goes to number 9. Oh yeah, Dan Burn came off at half time. He leapt for a header, and obviously he's 6'6", 6'7", whatever he is anyway, and he's leaping for a header, and lands from that great height, probably 7.5, 8 feet in the air. He lands on his back, and for the rest of the first half, you could see him holding his back. He didn't look comfortable at all. I thought, get some deep heat on it at half time, maybe some ice on it, maybe the physios can stretch him out. I don't know. He didn't come out for the second half, unfortunately. So Tino Livramento came on for the second half at right back, switched Trippier to left back, which I thought was a good move, because Tino Livramento played fantastically well. He was awesome in that second half, and he was fantastic at Dortmund away. We'll get to that in a minute. Right, the goal. Jacob Murphy comes on as well in the second half. Murphy, I think, was it Joe Linton running with the ball? Murphy gets the ball on the right-hand side. I'd like to think it was a cross, but I think it was a shot that he just got deliriously wrong. We think it's going out for a goal kick towards the corner flag. In real time, I thought the ball had gone out. Joe Willett carries on, looks around his shoulder. No one's flagged. You play to the whistle. We had this conversation when Jonjo, you remember back to 2019, Jonjo Shelvey scoring that goal away to Sheffield United, which they bitched and moaned about because they all stopped, but you play to the whistle. Kids, I was told that playing for the PE at school football, let alone a club team, let alone a men's team, let alone a professional football team, let alone a fucking Premier League team. Anyway, you play to the whistle. The ball looked to go out. Joe Willett collects the ball, drives towards the box, puts a nice little cross in. Raya, the supposed upgrade to Aaron Ramsdale, Ian, gets it all wrong, gets caught underneath the ball. Joe Linton looks to maybe have pushed Saliba in the back. The ball sort of bounces off his chest. Anthony Gordon's on hand to lash it in. We then go through 4 minutes of VAR checks. They check to see if the ball's out, which has since been proven it wasn't. Gary Neville on, what was it, was it Sunday, Soccer Sunday or Sunday Special, whatever it is, clarified that it wasn't. It can look, it depends on the angle because of the spherical shape of the ball. So that was cleared. Then they were looking at a foul, which again, Gary Neville on commentary said that he didn't think it was a foul. He thought that Saliba was ducking under to try and sort of meet the ball low and head it either up and over or away. Now, a fullback of Gary Neville's ability, experience and pedigree at playing for Manchester United, and that right back spot was his own pretty much, wasn't it, from 95, 96 through to 2008, probably consistently, because he had his injuries later on. So I thought a fullback of that stature and that experience probably knows one or two things about defending the back post. I know Saliba's not a fullback, but you get what I'm trying to say. He thought he ducked under, so I thought, okay, I'm not sure. I didn't know. I couldn't call it at the time. I thought, right, I'll go with that. The offside, I didn't get, I'll be honest. But anyway, the crux of the matter is, the long and short of it is, the goal after what felt like an hour of checks, and they're looking for any excuse. Arsenal fans were saying they're looking at for any excuse to allow the goal. It seems to me they're looking at any excuse to, disallow the goal. The goal's given. Pandemonium at St James's Park. Players whinging. I think that was around the 62nd minute mark. For the rest of the game, we had a nice spell after that. We were playing the ball around a bit. Tino Livramento is doing bits at right back. Don't know where these hiccups come from. Then Arsenal pile on the pressure for the last 10-15 minutes. Corner after corner after corner. Free kick after free kick. Balls into the box. And who was there to head most of them away and to meet and block and marshal and decisively deal with every situation pretty much was Jamal Lascelles. I thought he was fucking incredible against Arsenal. That's the best I've seen him in a black and white shirt. You even go back to the Championship days. You go back to the first season back in the Premier League, 17-18, where he was linked with a £30 million transfer to Chelsea, playing incredible stuff alongside Florian Lejeune for Rafa. He was fantastic then. I thought he was brilliant against Arsenal. And he's improved his passing game because he's always been physical, willing, He's always been your sort of meat and potatoes, you know, centre back, you know, one that would have thrived in 10, 15, 20 years ago in the Premier League, you know, head it, block it, smash it, clear it. But now, previously, every time he got on the ball, you felt a little bit nervous. But he's pinging it around a bit now. He's playing, Trippier's pushing up the right wing. Jamal's the right side of centre back. He's lovely passes, long balls down to Trippier around the corner. He's improved on the ball so much, and I'm so happy for him because he's got some stick from the fans, external supporters, rival supporters. You know, I've slated him time and time again where I just like, oh, he's not good enough, but he is. The biggest compliment you can give Jamal Lascelles is we're not missing Sven Botman much at the moment. He was brilliant. We battled, we grinded that game out. We were physical, we matched them. You know, Arsenal players were rolling around on the floor. Then as soon as the referee said, get up, or as soon as Arsenal retained the ball, it was, oh, we're fine now. Like I said, Havertz should have been sent off, but then again, so should Bruno, so those cancel each other out. We go to the post-match. I don't usually watch the post-match because usually you've got kids on the go, and it's as soon as the full-time whistle blows, I'm like, right, there's something to do. The kids are like, oh, my missus is like, right, football's over now, come on. But I did watch it all, and Arteta, I thought I can sympathise with Arteta a little bit because he feels wronged. He's passionate. He cares about the team. He cares about the results. He cares about the league. But I thought he'd come across as a whiner, and he embarrassed himself a little bit, saying it's disgusting. He was ashamed. Well, what are you ashamed of, Mikel? And it is ironic that a few weeks ago, I think when we had the Liverpool-Tottenham situation, he was saying, oh, we got to, you know, the mistake's going to be made. We've got to give him time. We've got to be patient with them. And now he's like, oh, this is embarrassing. This is a shambles. You know, 20 years I've been in this country. We're meant to have... And there's this theme at the minute of, oh, we should have the best referees. Well, oh, our referees are not to standard. And then what makes it even worse is Arsenal come out with a statement, you know, pretty much asking Howard Webb and the PGMOL or whatever for an apology. And it's like, fuck off. You know, things go your way. Sometimes things don't go your way. You just got to get on with it, you know. You could say, if that's a lucky scenario, you could say we've been a bit lucky in the last few weeks. You know, the penalty against Wolves, I don't think it was a penalty. Then you got the Anthony Gordon goal against Arsenal. Things are going our way, but we've had plenty of times this season and last season especially, things didn't go our way. So we travelled to Dortmund. Also, I've got to mention Jacob Murphy got injured in that game. Obviously, he hurt his ribs or his shoulder. I forget who it was against. Come off. Apparently, he was going to need an operation. Didn't have an operation. Surprised to see him on the bench in that game. Thought, oh, good, he's back because he's played bloody well this season. Lasts about 3 or 4 minutes. Has to come off again. So we are travelling to Dortmund with the bare bones. Going through the starting lineup, we had Nick Pope in goal, Lewis Hall making his Champions League debut at left back, Tino Livramento played on the right wing, Trippier right back, Lascelles and Sharon centre half. I think Joe Linton was playing on the left wing, Callum Wilson was up front. So you had Wilson, Joe Linton and Livramento up front, and then you had Sean Longstaff, Joe Willock and Joe Linton in mid... no, you didn't. You had... Oh, my God, I can't remember. Sean Longstaff, Bruno and Joe Willock in midfield. Dortmund had just got a number at the minute. I mean, there's so many players making their Champions League debuts in that starting 11. Like, you know, Lewis Hall, Tino Livramento. Sean Longstaff, that's his fourth... Champions League game. Bruno's all right. Who's got Champions League experience? Fabian Schär, Bruno Guimaraes, Alexander Isak, and Alexander Isak's not even available. So Bruno Guimaraes and Fabian Schär, Kieran Trippier. Everyone else, it's their first season in the Champions League. But Dortmund have got a number. I thought they had a fast start. It was toe for toe a little bit. Then they scored that goal, which was Lewis Hall's copping a lot of stick for this. But it was just an uncharacteristic goal for us to concede. It was scrappy. We lost every second ball. It was unlucky. It fell nicely for Dortmund, but they were forcing the issue. They scored. First half, I don't think we were brilliant. I thought we were okay, but Dortmund just had our number. Trippier didn't look himself at times with the ball. I thought Lewis Hall with the ball was doing very well, putting some nice passes, driving forward, putting some tackles in where he could. But he's 18 years old, man. He's 18 years old. I think this is like he still hasn't had 20 senior professional games, let alone 20 Champions League games. Second half, we were a lot brighter. We started really well. Miggy came on at half-time. Anthony Gordon came on. I think it was Miggy for Lewis Hall and Anthony Gordon for Callum Wilson. So we did the Trippier at left back, Tino at right back. Tino, I thought, looked so much better at right back than he did right wing. So much better. He looks a top player already. Then comes the chance. Joelinton. Tino Livramento puts in a fabulous cross from the right-hand side on a plate on Joelinton's head, 4 or 5 yards out wide. That was fine margins in this competition, and that was one of them. We have the ascendancy. If Joelinton puts that in, it's 1-1, and things could turn our way. I think a draw was always going to be a fantastic result away to Dortmund. A win would have been unbelievable, but I think a draw, we all would have been very happy with a draw. Joelinton misses that chance. We're still on top, and that came in a period in the game where we were on top, and we still played some decent stuff after, but I think Dortmund got some belief from that. We have a free kick, wide left, deep in the Dortmund half. Kieran Trippier, not his best delivery. But Dortmund breaks so quick. They did it all game at St James's Park. They did it all game on Tuesday at their stadium. They break so quickly. Brandt goes up the other end. It's only Tino Livramento back. It's a 2-on-1. Joe Willock is busting the gut to get back. Miggy is looking like he's trying to get back, but we're overloaded. In the end, 2-on-1 didn't matter. Brandt did it all by himself. Great finish, and that was that. That was that. Disappointing. But we're now rock bottom of the group. 4 points from 4 games. Dortmund go top of the group because Milan beat PSG. Didn't see that coming. And now we've got a trip away. We're away to Milan, PSG, then at home against Milan. I think the best we can hope for now is Europa League qualification, to be honest. Disappointing, but we've been in every game. All right, Milan should have scored in Milan, but we were dogged. It was a Champions League debut for most of our team. Our first game back in the Champions League, away to the semi-finalists of last season. They out-experienced us, if that's a word, in every area of the pitch, bar probably Trippier. But we battled hard. We stayed in the game. We had a few threats, but we defended resolutely, and we got our just reward in 0-0. We then smashed PSG to bits at home. PSG weren't great, no. But why weren't they great? Because we put it on them from the first whistle. We then, Dortmund at home. Yes, Nick Pope had some saves to make. Did they have better, out of the saves the goalkeepers made, did they have better chances? Yeah, probably. But their goalkeeper had to make a couple of saves. We hit the bar twice in the second half, and Callum Wilson has a golden opportunity to score. Fine margins, as I've said. They beat us 1-0. Away to Dortmund. Some substandard defending for both goals. Tired defending for both goals. Joelinton has a golden opportunity to score. He doesn't. Fine margins. It's fine margins. But the key is we've been in every game. We've competed in every game. We've not been battered. We've not been rolled over. We've not been outclassed in every single game. I think Dortmund have got the better of us over 2 games. Absolutely. I mean, the scoreline will tell you that, but they've got our number at the minute. But we've been in every game. We've been competitive. We haven't looked out of place. We haven't looked out of place at all. So, what is best for us? Obviously, we look tired at the moment, not surprisingly, because you just go through our injury list. Dan Burn, starter, injured. Sven Botman, starter, injured. Elliot Anderson, he started some games, but he's going to play, injured. Jacob Murphy, same as Anderson, injured. Harvey Barnes, injured. Sandro Tonali, starter, probably, suspended. Matt Targett, injured. There's much more. Isak, our best attacking player, injured. I mean, that's just 8 off the top of my head. There's probably more. You know, and it didn't help that Paul Dummett and Matt Ritchie weren't eligible to play in Dortmund because they weren't in the Champions League squad. So we were at the bare bones, literally. I hate the international break, but we need this. And I'm almost glad that Anthony Gordon's not been called up for England. I, selfishly, from a Newcastle point of view, I didn't want Callum Wilson or Kieran Trippier to be called up either. But yeah, I'm glad because Gordon's been unreal this season. The players we've got, we need to wrap them up in cotton wool. I think Matt Targett's just had an operation, so we don't. That's going to be. We're probably not going to see him before Christmas, are we? Let's be realistic. I haven't heard much about Harvey Barnes. We need him back because he's an option. He's a wide attacking option, and he's a fantastic player. And he didn't have a chance to get into his rhythm. You know, he scored and assisted on his debut against Aston Villa. And I thought if he played the whole game against Sheffield, he would have scored and assisted. We could have won 9 or 10. Jacob Murphy's looking like he's going to have an operation now. So again, that's probably going to be the other side of Christmas. Dan Burn, I've not really heard. Hopefully that's not long. Sven Botman should be coming back soon, hopefully. Isak should be coming back soon. But we've got Joe Willock back. We've got Joe Linton. Those two firing on all cylinders now. So, is it a good thing if we crash out the Champions League? I think for the rest of the season, yes. I hate saying that because I want us to compete at the highest level. But we are stretched. If we're going to go deep into the League Cup, something's got to give. So I think in the long run, if we don't qualify at the groups, say we finish 4th. We're good enough to compete in the Europa League. I believe we're good enough to win the Europa League if we finish 3rd. But if we finish 4th, I think we need to see this as a learning curve. Jim White was talking to Danny Murphy and Simon Jordan about this. And Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, I thought, were talking complete sense. It's a learning curve. It's experience. Jim White was trying to push the agenda of, oh no, that would be a failure. They want to be competing now. It's not about the here and now. It's the building process. So it's not the destination, but the journey, as I've said many a time. We are on a journey. We are on our way. We can take this. I think it's important that we finish in the Champions League places again. So if we have to sacrifice the Champions League now for tomorrow, obviously we're not going to sacrifice it on purpose. We're going to go out and try and win every game we play. But if we do crash out the Champions League, I think in hindsight it will not be the end of the world because it will give us less games to play. And I think we got more chance of being in the Champions League next year if we get out of it now. Or if we're kicked out of it now. So I don't want us to do that, but it could happen, couldn't it? Proud of the team. Positives. Obviously, I'm ending on a negative because of the Dortmund result, but we've been fantastic. I've just heard on TalkSport they're talking about James Maddison and Van der Ven injured for Tottenham. They're like, oh, it's a huge players missing. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And I don't mind Tottenham. And I like James Maddison especially. But that's the equivalent of, let's say, Tonali and Botman being unavailable for us. Well, Botman's not been available since before the first international break. Tonali's not played since Palace. Isak's not played since PSG. It's been a what? No, Isak's not played since West Ham. Barnes, Anderson, Tonali, Byrne, Murphy, Target, Botman. Oh, there's so many injuries. And again, I'm probably forgetting one or two. Anyway, international breaks come in. Hopefully we can get some players back after the international break, wrap them up in cotton wool, physio, recovery, whatever you need to do in the international break. Hopefully no one gets injured away with their national teams. But we have got the little matter of Eddie's another return to Bournemouth. Bournemouth aren't looking amazing. We should deal with them. It would be lovely if we could come out of Bournemouth without another injury. I mean, we didn't get any players injured against Dortmund. That was something. But, you know, 2 against Arsenal, 1 against Man U. Who do I think will start? I think we will probably go for... I don't think it's the end of the world if Trippier doesn't start this game. I'm not saying he should be dropped, but given a rest, because he's going to play for England, isn't he? I think there's a case for Livramento to start at right back, for Lewis Hall to start at left back. I think there's a case for maybe Fabian Schär to be given a rest, because he will be playing for Switzerland, no doubt. For Paul Dummett and Jamal Lascelles to start in the centre-back berths. I think your midfield 3, I think you give Bruno a rest. I think you play Sean Longstaff, but then again, he's played a lot recently. But Bruno's going to play for Brazil. I think you play Sean Longstaff, Joe Linton, and Joe Willock. And I think you go with Gordon, Wilson, Miggy up top. You can't play Bruno because he's suspended. I've just remembered that. So that means that Lewis Miley, it will get some minutes, hopefully, in the Premier League. I thought he did okay against Dortmund. He didn't look overly comfortable. But who does in the Champions League at 17 years old, unless you're Wayne Rooney? I think he was 18, but anyway. So that would be good for Miley. We should win. I think we've got enough firepower up front in Almiron, Wilson and Gordon to win. I'd love to see Anthony Gordon continue his good form. I think double figures, goals and assists for the season should be the bare minimum for him in all competitions. I mean, how many is he on the league now? I think he's got 4 in the league now, if I remember rightly. Palace, Liverpool, Arsenal, obviously, and Palace, Arsenal, Liverpool, Sheffield United, obviously. So that'd be great to see him score. I predict 2-0 win. I think Wilson and Gordon will score. I'd love to see Joe Linton score because he's not scored yet. I'd love to see Willock get on a bit of a streak. I'd love to see them all score, to be honest. Anyway, I'm coming up to 38 minutes now. Please hit like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all that sort of stuff. I will be doing more and more and more. This is a particularly long one. Thank you for staying with it. Like I said, please hit like if you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. If you didn't enjoy the video, thank you for watching anyway. See you later. Cheers.